In a bustling, spacefaring city known as Nova Prime, Jake Porter was just another face in the crowd. He was a mechanic, skilled with machines, but often overlooked in a world filled with adventurers and explorers. His workshop was a small, cluttered space filled with the hum of tools and the scent of metal. Jake spent his days fixing ships, repairing engines, and patching up technology for traders who passed through the city. Although he was good at his job, he longed for something more, a sense of adventure that seemed to escape him. One sunny afternoon, while Jake worked on a small cargo ship, the door to his workshop swung open. Two figures stepped inside, their presence immediately commanding attention. They were twins, a boy and a girl, both with striking features and an air of mystery about them. Their eyes sparkled with intelligence, and their confidence was palpable. Jake paused, wiping his hands on a rag as he took in the unusual sight. "Can we help you?" Jake asked, trying to sound casual despite his curiosity. The girl stepped forward, introducing herself as Leela, while her brother, Leo, stood beside her with a serious expression. "We need help with our ship," Leela said, her voice steady. "It's damaged, and we don't have much time." Jake nodded, intrigued. "What happened?" he asked, leading them to the back of the workshop where a small transport ship awaited repairs. "It was attacked," Leo explained, glancing around the workshop as if assessing their surroundings. "We were fleeing from the Void Syndicate."
Yeah.
Name sent a chill down Jake's spine. The Void Syndicate was a notorious group known for their ruthlessness and power. They sought to dominate the galaxy, crushing anyone who threatened their control. "What do you mean fleeing?" Jake pressed, his interest piqued. Leela exchanged a worried glance with her brother before continuing. "We're from a planet called Eldoria. Our people are in danger, and we were trying to escape when they attacked us. We need to get back home." Jake studied them, sensing the urgency in their voices. "I can help with the repairs," he said, feeling a spark of excitement. "But I need to know more about this syndicate." "What do they want with you?" "They believe that humans can unlock powerful technologies," Leo said, his tone serious. "They want to eliminate anyone they see as a threat. We're not just running for our lives, we're running to save our planet." As Jake began examining the ship, he listened intently to their story. The twins spoke of their home, a vibrant world filled with lush landscapes and advanced technologies. They described their people's history, a culture rich in knowledge and innovation. Meant now, that world was at risk, and the twins were determined to save it. While Jake worked on the ship, he found himself captivated by their determination and bravery. He had always dreamed of adventure, but never thought he would be part of something so significant. As he fixed the damaged panels and checked the engine, he felt a growing sense of purpose. "Do you really think you can stop them?" Jake asked, glancing up from his work. Lila nodded confidently. "We have to believe we can. If we don't, then all hope is lost." Jake felt inspired. For the first time in his life, he wanted to be more than just a mechanic. He wanted to be part of something bigger. "I'll help you," he said, wiping his hands on his coveralls. "Let's get this ship ready." The twins smiled at him, gratitude shining in their eyes. As they worked together, Jake felt a bond forming between them. They shared stories and laughter, each moment pulling them closer as a team. The workshop, once just a place of routine repairs, transformed into a hub of hope and determination as the sun began to set outside. Casting a warm glow through the windows, Jake realized that this was the start of something extraordinary. The twins had ignited a fire within him, a desire to fight for a cause greater than himself. Little did he know, this was only the beginning of an adventure that would change his life forever. As the days passed, Jake, Leela, and Leo worked tirelessly to repair the twins' damaged ship, which they named the Starfire. The workshop buzzed with energy as they collaborated, each bringing their unique skills to the table. Jake's mechanical expertise complemented Leela's knowledge of alien technology, while Leo's strategic thinking helped them plan their next steps. One afternoon, while they were deep into repairs, Leela suddenly looked up from the control panel. "Jake, can you help me figure out this system? It's not responding properly," she said, her brow furrowed in concentration. Jake moved over to her side, studying the complex array of buttons and screens. "Let me take a look," he replied, leaning closer. He examined the panel. He noticed something strange. This looks like it's been tampered with. The wiring isn't standard. Leo, who had been checking the ship's hull, joined them. "What do you mean? Is it fixable?" he asked, concern evident in his voice. "It can be fixed," Jake replied confidently, "but it's going to take some time. Whoever attacked you wanted to ensure you couldn't escape." The twins exchanged worried glances. "We need to hurry," Lila said. "The Void Syndicate won't stop looking for us. They want to capture us before we can warn our people." Through renewed determination, they worked late into the night. The workshop was filled with the sound of tools clanging and the soft glow of lights illuminating their progress. As they toiled, Jake found himself growing closer to the twins. They shared stories about their lives, their dreams, and their fears. Lila spoke passionately about her home, while Leo shared tales of their adventures before the attack. One evening, as they took a break, Leo leaned back against a crate, looking thoughtful. "You know, Jake, we're lucky to have found you. Not many people would risk their safety to help strangers." Jake shrugged, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "I just want to help. I've always wanted more than this life, and now I have. A chance to do something important." Lila smiled warmly. "You're not just a mechanic anymore. You're part of our mission. Together, we can save Eldoria." As the stars twinkled outside the workshop, Jake felt a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. He realized that he was no longer just fixing ships. He was preparing for a battle that could change the fate of an entire planet. Days turned into weeks, and finally, the Starfire was ready for its maiden flight. Jake stood back, admiring their hard work. The ship gleamed under the workshop lights. Its advanced technology, a blend of Eldorian design and Jake's mechanical know-how. "We did it," Lila exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. "Now we just need to test it." Jake felt a rush of nerves. "Testing it is one thing, but flying into danger is another," he said, glancing at the twins. "Are you sure this is what you won't?" Leo nodded firmly. "We have to go back. We can't let the Syndicate win. We owe it to our people." As they prepared for takeoff, Jake ran through the ship's systems one last time, ensuring everything was in order. Lila and Leo took their places in the cockpit, their expressions a mix of determination and apprehension. "Ready when you are, Jake?" Lila called. With a deep breath, Jake climbed into the ship, his heart racing. He had never flown anything like this before, but he felt a surge of confidence. "Let's do this," he said, settling into his seat. As Lila initiated the launch sequence, the Starfire's engines roared to life. The ship vibrated with power, and Jake felt a thrill run through him. They were about to embark on a journey that would test their courage and resolve. The ship lifted. Off the ground, ascending into the starry sky, Jake looked out the window, watching Nova Prime shrink below them. For the first time, he felt like he was truly alive, flying toward an uncertain future with the twins by his side as they broke through the atmosphere and into the vastness of space. Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Little did he know the challenges ahead would push them all to their limits and reveal the strength they never knew they had. Together, they were ready to face whatever the universe threw their way. As the Starfire soared through the vastness of space, Jake felt a mix of exhilaration and anxiety. The twin stars of Nova Prime faded into the background, replaced by the endless expanse of twinkling lights. Lila and Leo were focused, their expressions serious as they navigated the controls. The ship hummed with energy, a blend of Eldorian technology and Jake's mechanical ingenuity. "Set a course for Eldoria," Leo instructed, his voice steady. "We need to get there as fast as possible," Lila nodded, fingers dancing over the controls. "Adjusting course now. It's going to take us a few days to reach the planet, but we'll need to be ready for anything."
Oh.
Jake leaned back in his seat, feeling a sense of purpose wash over him. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was part of a mission that could save an entire world. As the ship glided smoothly through space, he thought about the challenges ahead. The Void Syndicate had already shown their ruthlessness, and he knew they wouldn't give up easily. Over the next few days, they fell into a routine. Lila and Leo worked on refining the ship's systems while Jake focused on keeping everything running smoothly. They shared meals in the small galley, laughter breaking the tension that sometimes filled the air. Jake enjoyed these moments, feeling a bond grow stronger between them. One evening, as they gathered around the table, Lila looked at Jake with curiosity. "What made you become a mechanic?" she asked. Jake smiled, thinking back to his childhood. "I've always loved machines. Growing up, I used to take apart anything I could find. Old radios, broken toys. I loved figuring out how things worked," Leo chuckled. "Sounds like you were destined to be a mechanic. But what about your dreams? Did you ever want to do something else?" Jake paused, considering his answer. "I always dreamed of adventure, but I never thought it would actually happen. I thought I'd just be stuck fixing ships for the rest of my life." Lila leaned forward, her eyes sparkling. "Well, you're living your dream now. You're part of something bigger." As they talked, the ship continued its journey through the stars. But one night their routine was shattered. Jake was jolted awake by a sudden alarm. He rushed to the cockpit, heart racing. "What's happening?" Lila and Leo were already at their stations, faces tense. "We've detected a ship approaching," Leo said, scanning the monitors. "It's the Void Syndicate." Jake's stomach dropped. "What are we going to do? We need to hide," Lila replied quickly. "They see us, they'll know we're here." Jake's mind raced. "Can we use the asteroid field nearby? We could blend in among the rocks." Leo nodded, impressed. "Good idea, Lila." "Plot a course for the field." As Lila adjusted the controls, Jake felt adrenaline surge through him. They needed to act fast. The Syndicate ship was closing in, and they had to outsmart their pursuers. The Starfire changed course, veering toward the asteroid field. Jake watched the screen, heart pounding as they navigated through the massive rocks floating in space. The ship shook as they dodged debris, but Lila's steady hands kept them on track. "Stay low," Leo instructed, gripping the edge of his seat. "If we can hide behind a larger asteroid, they might not see us." Jake's breaths were shallow. As they maneuvered deeper into the field, he could see the Syndicate ship on the monitor, its dark silhouette looming closer. "They're scanning for us," he warned. "Just a little further," Lila urged, her focus unwavering. Finally, they found a massive asteroid to hide behind. Jake held his breath as they tucked the Starfire into a shadowy crevice, the engines quieting to a whisper. They watched as the Syndicate ship passed by, its sensors sweeping the area. Minutes felt like hours as they waited, anxiety filling the cockpit. Suddenly, the Syndicate ship moved on, continuing its search elsewhere. Jake let out a sigh of relief. "Heart still racing, we did it," Lila said, a smile breaking across her face. "We outran them," Jake grinned, feeling a surge of pride. "That was close. We need to stay alert. They won't give up easily." With the immediate danger behind them, they resumed their journey toward Eldoria, the bond between them stronger than ever. Jake realized that he was no longer just a mechanic. He was part of a team. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, ready to protect their future and the future of an entire planet. As the Starfire continued its journey toward Eldoria, the atmosphere inside the ship shifted from tension to determination. The crew had successfully evaded the Void Syndicate, but they knew their challenges were far from over. Of urgency to prepare for what lay ahead. Their home was in danger, and time was running out. After a few days of travel, the stars outside began to change. The familiar glow of their home system appeared on the horizon. Lila, who had been monitoring their approach, turned to Jake and Leo with a spark of excitement in her eyes. "We're almost there. Just a few more hours." Jake leaned closer to the control panel, studying the readings. "What's the situation on Eldoria? Are there any updates?" he asked, remembering their earlier conversations about the impending threat. Leo's expression turned serious. "We need to be prepared for anything. The Syndicate has already attacked our planet once. They might be waiting for us to return." Lila nodded, her face set in determination. "We'll need a plan. We can't just land and hope for the best. We have to gather allies and resources before confronting them." Jake felt a wave of responsibility wash over him. He was a mechanic, not a soldier, but he understood the importance of their mission. What can I do to help? He asked, eager to contribute. We need to create a strategy, Leo replied. We should reach out to our allies on Eldoria and organize a defense. If we can gather enough support, we can stand against the syndicate. As they approached Eldoria, Jake's heart raced with both excitement and fear. He thought of the beautiful landscapes Lila had described, the lush forests, vibrant cities, and the people who called this planet home. He longed to help protect it, but he also feared what they might find. Finally, starfire entered Eldoria's atmosphere, and the landscape unfolded below them. Green hills rolled into the distance, dotted with sparkling lakes and bustling cities. Lila pointed out familiar landmarks as they flew over the planet. There's our capital, Eldoria City, she exclaimed, her eyes shining with hope. Jake took a deep breath, feeling a sense of belonging wash over him. This was more than just a mission. It was a chance to make a difference. Let's land and start gathering our allies, he said, feeling more confident than ever. As they descended toward the city, Lila and Leo quickly sent out messages to their contacts, calling for anyone willing to join their cause. The starfire touched down in a small clearing just outside the city, and the trio quickly exited the ship, ready to face whatever awaited them. The moment they stepped onto the ground, they were greeted by a group of familiar faces. Allies from Lila and Leo's past had come to support them, bringing supplies and resources. Among them was an elder named Aaron, a wise leader who had fought against the syndicate before. It's good to see you both safe, Aaron said, his voice filled with warmth. And Jake, you've come far from your workshop, he offered, nod of respect. Jake felt a swell of pride at the elder's acknowledgement. I'm here to help in any way I can, he replied, determination in his voice. As they gathered in a nearby meeting hall, Lila took charge. We need to discuss our plan of action. The Void Syndicate will not stop until they capture us. We must unite our forces and prepare for their attack. The room buzzed with murmurs of agreement as the allies shared their ideas. Some spoke of fortifying defenses, while others suggested gathering intelligence on the Syndicate's movements. Jake listened intently, taking notes and brainstorming ways to contribute. After hours of discussion, they formed a solid plan. Their first step would be to set up a network of scouts to keep watch for any syndicate activity. They also decided to strengthen their defenses around Eldoria City while preparing for a possible counterattack. As the meeting concluded, Jake felt a sense of unity among the group. They were no longer just individuals. They were part of a larger movement, united against a common enemy. Tomorrow, we'll put our plan into action, Lila declared, her voice filled with determination. We fight for our home, for our people. Jake nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He was ready to face the challenges ahead, knowing that together they could stand strong against the Void Syndicate. As the sun set over Eldoria, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Jake felt a renewed sense of hope. This was their moment, and he would do everything in his power to help protect the planet he had come to care for so deeply. The sun rose over Eldoria, casting a warm light across the landscape. Jake stood at the window of the meeting hall, looking out at the vibrant city below. Today was the day they would put their plan into action. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was his first real mission. The fate of Eldoria depended on their success. After a quick breakfast with Lila, Leo, and their allies, the group gathered to finalize their strategy. Lila stood at the front, her expression determined as she addressed everyone. We've prepared as much as we can. Our scouts are ready to keep watch for any signs of the Void Syndicate. If we stick to the plan and work together, we can protect our home. Jake felt a rush of adrenaline as he looked around at the faces of his new friends and allies. They were all counting on him, and he was ready to do his part. What can I do to help? He asked, stepping forward. We need you to oversee the repairs on our defenses, Leo replied. Some of the older tech isn't working properly, and we need it functional before the Syndicate arrives. Can you handle that? Absolutely, Jake said, feeling a surge of confidence. I'll get started right away. The group split up to execute their tasks. Jake headed to the city's central defense station, a large structure filled with various machines and technology. He found a team of engineers already working on the defenses, but they looked overwhelmed. Jake approached them, introducing himself. "Jake," he said with a smile. "I'm here to help with the repairs. What do you need me to focus on?" One of the engineers, a woman named Mira, looked relieved. "Thank goodness you're here. We've been trying to fix the energy shields, but the systems are outdated. We could use some fresh ideas." Jake nodded, jumping into action. He examined the equipment, quickly identifying the issues. "Let's start by recalibrating the energy core. If we can boost the output, we'll have a stronger defense." As they worked together, Jake shared his knowledge of technology and mechanics, offering suggestions and solutions. The other engineers quickly followed his lead, and soon the atmosphere in the room shifted from tension to focus. They were all working as a team, and Jake felt a sense of belonging. Hours passed, and just as the energy shields were finally operational, Scout rushed into the room, breathless and wide-eyed. "They're coming. The Void Syndicate is approaching." From the east, Jake's heart sank. The moment they had prepared for was finally here. "Need to get everyone to their positions," he shouted, adrenaline surging through him. Lila and Leo quickly joined him, and the three of them rushed back to the meeting hall, where the allies were already gathering. "Listen up," Lila called, her voice cutting through the noise. "The Syndicate is on the move. Everyone needs to take their positions at the defenses. We're facing them, head on." The crowd quickly dispersed, heading to their designated areas. Jake felt a mix of fear and excitement as he returned to the defense station. He took his place alongside Mira and the other engineers, ready to activate the shields, as the first Syndicate ships appeared in the sky. Dark silhouettes against the bright blue, Jake felt his heart race. Ships were massive, they're menacing. Shapes cutting through the air like predators. "Get ready," he shouted, adrenaline pumping. The engineers monitored the systems, and Jake focused intently on the energy shields. "We need to activate them now," he urged, feeling the weight of the moment. With a flick of a switch, the shields powered up, glowing bright blue. Jake watched as the first Syndicate ship fired its weapons, beams of energy shooting toward the city. The shields flared to life, absorbing the impact and sending sparks flying. "It's working," Mira shouted, her face lit with excitement. "We can hold them back." Jake felt a surge of hope as the first wave of attacks ricocheted off the shields. But the Syndicate was relentless. More ships appeared, and the air filled with the sound of explosions and alarms. The ground shook beneath them as they fought to hold their position. "Stay focused," Lila yelled from her command post. "We can't give up." Jake and the engineers worked together, adjusting the energy levels and coordinating with their allies. As the battle raged on, Jake realized that they were not just defending a city. They were fighting for their future and the future of Eldoria. With every blast that hit the shields, Jake felt more determined. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was part of something greater. As the fight continued, he knew they had to stand strong, united against the Void Syndicate. Together they would protect their home at all costs. The battle raged on as Jake and his teammates worked tirelessly to hold back the Void Syndicate. The air was filled with the roar of engines and the crackle of energy beams. Jake felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him, but he pushed through, focusing on the task at hand. The energy shields glowed brightly, absorbing wave after wave of attacks. They were holding strong, but Jake knew it wouldn't last forever. "Keep adjusting the output," Jake shouted to Mira and the other engineers. "We need to increase the power to the shields." Mira nodded, her face tense with concentration. "I'm on it. If we can just boost the core one more time, we might be able to withstand their fire." As he worked, Jake glanced out at the battlefield. He could see the Syndicate ships swarming like angry hornets, launching missiles and energy blasts toward the city. The sight filled him with determination. They couldn't let the Syndicate win. They had to protect Eldoria. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the ground, and Jake stumbled. The blast had come from one of the neighboring defense stations. "They're breaking through," someone yelled. "Focus," Lila's voice rang out over the chaos. "We need to regroup and reinforce the defenses." Jake quickly moved to the control panel, monitoring the readings. "If we redirect power from the auxiliary systems, we can strengthen the shields even more," he suggested. Mira and the others nodded in agreement, and they sprang into action. They worked together, reallocating energy and adjusting the systems. To create a more robust defense, Jake felt the adrenaline surge as he pressed buttons and watched the readings change. Shields at maximum capacity. Mira called out, her voice filled with excitement. Just then, a new wave of syndicate ships swooped in, their weapons charged and ready. Jake's heart raced as he saw the incoming blasts. "Get ready!" yelled Dodd. The first energy beam struck the shields, and they flared brightly, absorbing the impact. "It's holding," Jake yelled, relief flooding through him. But he knew they couldn't keep this up forever. As the battle continued, Jake noticed a smaller syndicate ship breaking away from the main group. It was flying low, trying to evade detection. "What are they doing?" he wondered aloud. "They might be trying to land troops," Leo shouted from a nearby station. "We can't let them breach our defenses." Jake felt a surge of urgency. "We need to focus on that ship. If we can take it out, we might slow them down." Lila nodded, determination in her eyes. "Let's coordinate our fire. Everyone, target that ship." The engineers quickly adjusted their systems, and Jake felt a rush of adrenaline. "On my mark," he said, watching the smaller ship as it maneuvered toward a weak point in their defenses. 3, 2, 1. Fire! A barrage of energy blasts erupted from their station, hitting the smaller ship. It shuddered and veered off course, smoke trailing behind it. Direct hit. Someone cheered, but just as they celebrated, an explosion rocked their station. Jake stumbled again, trying to regain his footing. "What happened?" he shouted. "The syndicate is targeting us directly." "Oh," Mira shouted back, her voice strained. "Shh. We need to reinforce our position." Jake's mind raced. They couldn't afford to lose their station. "If we can activate the backup generators, we can boost our shields even more," he suggested. "Do it," Lila ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos. Jake rushed to the backup generator controls, his hands flying over the buttons. He felt the vibrations of the battle all around him as he worked. Finally, he activated the backup systems, feeling a surge of power flow through the shields. The shields flared brighter than ever, absorbing the incoming fire. "We did it," Jake shouted, exhilarated. But the battle was far from over. The syndicate wasn't backing down. More ships arrived, their numbers overwhelming. The sky darkened with their presence, and Jake felt a knot of fear in his stomach. "Stay strong," Lila yelled, rallying the troops. "We can't let them break us." As the battle continued, Jake focused on the fight, channeling all his energy into protecting Eldoria. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a defender of his new home, fighting alongside friends who had become family. With every blast that hit the shields, Jake felt more determined. They were fighting for their future, and he knew they had to stand together. The strength of their unity was their greatest weapon against the Void Syndicate. They would protect Eldoria at all costs. The battle raged on, and the air crackled with tension as Jake and his allies fought against the relentless Void Syndicate. The skies were filled with the sounds of explosions and the hum of energy blasts. Jake felt a mix of fear and determination surging through him. He had never imagined he would be part of something so monumental. Defending a planet from an invading force? As the syndicate ships continued their assault, Jake kept his focus on the control panel. The energy shields flickered, but held strong, absorbing the blasts aimed at their station. "Hey, we need to push back," he shouted to Mira, who was working beside him. "Can we increase the output again?" Mira nodded, her eyes wide with determination. "Let's do it. We can redirect power from the secondary systems." Together, they worked swiftly, adjusting the controls and reallocating energy. The shields brightened, and Jake felt a rush of hope as they became more resilient. "Now let's show them what we're made of," he yelled. Meanwhile, Lila and Leo coordinated the troops on the ground, rallying everyone to maintain their defenses. "We can't let them breach our lines," Lila urged, her voice steady amidst the chaos. "Keep firing at those ships." Allies responded with fierce determination, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts toward the oncoming Syndicate ships. Jake watched as one of the enemy vessels took a direct hit, spiraling out of control and crashing into the ground with a fiery explosion. Cheers erupted from their side as they celebrated every small victory. But the battle was far from over. More Syndicate ships entered the fray, their dark silhouettes looming ominously against the bright sky. Jake's heart sank as he realized that they were outnumbered. "We need to find a way to turn the tide," he said, his voice filled with urgency. Just then, a familiar face appeared beside him. It was Aaron, the elder leader. "Jake, we need a bold move," Aaron said, his voice calm but firm. "Do you have any ideas?" Jake thought quickly. "If we can lure some of their ships into the asteroid field, we might be able to trap them. The terrain could give us an advantage." Aaron nodded, impressed by the suggestion. "That's a great idea. We can use the scout ships to draw them in. If you think you can manage the shields while we do that, it could work." Jake felt a surge of confidence. "I can handle it. Let's do it." Lila and Leo quickly spread the word, and soon the scout ships were ready to take action. They flew out from the main station, darting toward the asteroid field with the Syndicate ships in hot pursuit. Jake monitored the situation from his control panel, tracking the movements of both the scout ships and the enemy. "Come on, guys," he whispered, tension building in his chest. "Lead them right into the trap." As the scout ships entered the asteroid field, the Syndicate ships followed, eager to catch their prey. But as they navigated through the rocks, Jake could see the enemy beginning to struggle. The tight spaces and obstacles forced them to slow down. "Now," Jake shouted, his heart racing.
Activate the energy pulse.
Mira quickly hit the switch, and a powerful energy wave surged through the shields, radiating outward. The pulse struck the Syndicate ships, destabilizing their systems and causing confusion among their ranks. "Look." Leo pointed at the screen. "They're colliding. It's working." The chaos in the asteroid field quickly turned into a disaster for the Syndicate. Ships crashed into each other and explosions lit up the darkness of space. Jake felt a rush of exhilaration as he realized they had turned the tide. "Keep pushing," Lila called out, her voice filled with energy. "We can't let up now." The Syndicate ships in disarray, Jake and the engineers focused on maintaining the shields and coordinating the fire from the remaining defense stations. Together, they launched a renewed assault on the enemy, targeting the ships that were struggling to regroup. As the battle intensified, Jake felt a newfound strength within himself. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a vital part of a team, fighting for their home. The Allies worked in perfect harmony, each playing their role in the defense of Eldoria. Finally, after what felt like hours of fighting, the last of the Syndicate ships began to retreat. Cheers filled the air as the defenders witnessed their victory. Jake watched as the dark ships turned and fled, disappearing into the distance. Exhausted but elated, Jake turned to Lila and Leo, who were beaming with pride. "We did it!" exclaimed, disbelief and joy washing over him. "We actually did it!" Lila laughed, her eyes sparkling. "I knew we could. Together, we're unstoppable." As the sun began to set over Eldoria, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Jake felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had fought hard and protected their planet. In that moment, he realized that he had found his place among these brave people. Eldoria was safe for now, but Jake knew this was just the beginning. He looked forward to the adventures that lay ahead, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw their way. Together, they were stronger than ever, ready to defend their home and forge a brighter future.